Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at 170 Sonora Way South here in Salem. Located up on the rooftop, going down through a 4-inch cast iron vent. This will be our point of access. We're going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water's currently running. We're going to zero the foot counter out once we get down to the base of the stack here. I think I'm going to clear some cobwebs off my lens really quick before we move on. Alright, off we go. Alright, so I think we might be doing a shot out the side here. On the way back out, I'll try and hunt down where the clean out ties into the line. We're swapping over to concrete pipe right now, 4-inch diameter concrete. That generally means we are on the outside of the house. And thus far, that's some half-decent looking concrete pipe there. Showing a little bit of aggregate in the flow line, but no buildup associated with it. Now, cast iron too is a rougher pipe product, both of which, in fact, we just went past a tampon string there a moment ago. I was just about to mention to you, these rougher pipe materials, they don't love abusive items, wipes, paper towels, things like that. That rougher textures tends to snag things. The ones you want to treat a little nicer than your newer plastic lines. All right, now we're into 4-inch 3034 PVC. And there's the main there at about 49 feet. We're gonna go locate that while the line drains out, then we'll have a better look at things and go over some stuff on the way back in. Alrighty, located the camera head out front here on Sonora Way. Line actually went a different direction than I thought. Usually when the big main vent like this is on the front side of the roof, the line goes out the back and vice versa. So this one does do a shot out the front. Now we're going to pull back here and I'm going to do a locate at the concrete transition. So what I noticed on the way out, I'll point it out as we come back in, I'll see if we have any further. There was a joint there. If you go back and watch the start of that video, or the advance out, there is an earthworm coming through a joint that's separated. That tells you that joint is open to the ground. And anyway, I'm going to go locate here and then we'll go over that. Alright, so if you look out on the road, you're going to see a green T marking. The T marking is, that's just indicating where the main lateral is at. That's just a reference point. You'll see about 5 feet away from there is an X marking. That's where the transition is at, from concrete to PVC here. And I was getting about 5 foot 8 inches deep there. That's in the roadway. Bear with me here a second. Almost looks like we might have water. So I'm going to follow that water back. Yeah, if you look prior to the pipe joint, there does not appear to be any water flowing past my camera right there, as you'll notice, but you have water trickling at that joint. So what it looks like is groundwater is seeping to that joint. And that's what I was going to get to here as we were making our way back. These concrete pipe joints, unfortunately, they're grouted, and the grout is it's just another type of concrete. And when you get decades of expansion, contraction of the soil, and just age, the grout starts to wear out, like any concrete does. Your driveway wears out over time. And anyway, what ends up occurring is those joints start to become exposed to the ground, and slowly but surely, groundwater starts to seep through the line. And with that will drag dirt with it. That joint there has got separation at it, and it's separated enough there that joint there is very likely opened up to the ground. Anyway, what that can cause slowly but surely over time is progressive settling. That one also is separated too. And what you don't want to have happen, especially in a part of town where the homeowner is responsible all the way out to the main.
That's my understanding.
What you don't want to have happen is let this thing wear out to the point where it starts to settle and you get offset joints and bellies in it. And what that means for you is that you'll lose your ability to do an epoxy liner on the line, which is a trenchless repair system, and in general saves considerable amounts of money, especially when you're talking having to crack a road open. That's where the big costs start coming into play. So on stuff like this, what I generally would shoot for first and foremost, unless it's magically cheaper to dig the line up, I highly doubt that, I would be looking into doing an epoxy liner on this, line the pipe, the concrete pipe here, get the joints all sealed up. And it's a at that point, it's not a Band-Aid fix. That's a fully updated sewer line at that point, but it's trenchless. You're not having to dig. So that's what I would look into here. As far as flow goes right now, the line has reasonable flow from just that standpoint alone, but you have a line here that is not watertight any longer. And your line's got to do a couple things. It needs to convey sewage, and it also needs to be able to contain it and or prevent groundwater from seeping in. The other thing that can occur there is under hydro erosion. It's not just the sewer line can be affected, but it can also affect the roadway above it. You can cause, the roadway to start being sucked out from underneath it too and cause settling there. All right, here we are approaching the street curb, getting about 4 foot 6 inches deep here. And I'm using green marking paint. Now they really did put a nice, good slope and grade on this thing, which is great. It means everything's moving through it at a faster rate of speed. And even more so, you get a liner put inside these things. Those liners harden up to the point where they are about as smooth as glass is. So you couple that with a nice good slope and grade, and stuff rockets through the line. All right, about 3 feet deep here in the yard. Well, there's a little creepy crawly. I'm not sure if Earthworm Jim's gonna come back and make himself known again or not, but anyway, if you watch the advance out, you'll see the joint. I stop at it for a moment. All right, and we're at the transition here, so it's from here at about 11 feet. And if you're talking going off the foundation wall right now, we're sitting only about 5 feet out from the front of the house right now. And about 2 foot 4 inches there. I had to overshoot that. That marking might be off by 6 inches. You got to get all the way through the transition there. You get a weird locate when you're parked halfway between cast and concrete. Clean out, where are you? I'm sorry, I've got a terrible light glare up here right now. Even with an umbrella, it's hard to see. I can't tell if my eyes aren't adjusting to the lighting here. I'm having a hard time seeing a line at the top of the pipe. This might be one of those random, rare, unusual lines that doesn't have an outside clean out. It does happen from time to time. It's very rare though. It's very difficult to get your line passed off and permitted without one, but it does happen sometimes. So the only digging you might have to do on this one is digging down about 2 feet and putting in a clean out access, which is pretty small potatoes in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, I don't see an obvious one here. That's unusual. It's something you hear a lot about houses not having clean outs. I've been doing this 13 years, 25,000 sewer scopes, and it is extraordinarily rare for a line to not have one. They're usually just buried really deep and awkward to get to. I'll review that at home, but I actually don't think this one has one. So you'll have to do a little bit of digging there to add a clean out in. It's just under dirt and it's 2 feet deep. No big deal as far as adding that in. I recommend first and foremost, I'd recommend an epoxy liner be installed in all the concrete pipe. Ideally, if you can, overlap that transition joint from concrete to PVC to fully seal it up. Luckily, it looks like it's all the same diameter, so it's a good idea to overlap that joint, though, to make sure it's sealed. And again, that's to deal with the separated pipe joints. The line has good slope and grade, which is what makes it a good candidate for a liner. You'll have a very nice result out of that, all said and done. And you can do it however you want. Dig it up the good old-fashioned way, pipe burst it, whatever. But the liner is a good option, and it generally saves quite a lot of money not having to dig, or at least trench up the road. Cast iron's in good shape, and the PVC beyond that joint there all looks good, beyond the transition from concrete to PVC. I highly recommend a rescope after any repairs are completed to check the work. It's very important to do that, especially if you end up digging for some reason. You want to make sure you're doing that after the trench is closed, so you can catch any settling problems.